Hey guys, welcome into the Falaya Focus Studios here at the LA Tech Park. Today we've got Speedy Bancroft with us. He's a tenant here at the Louisiana Tech Park as well, and we wanted to highlight all the great thing that he has going on with Speedy Eats, kind of get some exposure on him, as well as kind of dive more into what it takes to build a business, raise funds, and to actually penetrate the market and disrupt a space as big as restaurants and food service, which is a big venture. Yep. So welcome in, Speed.
Thank you.
Yeah, man.
Thanks.
So
Good to be here.
yeah, so I guess to kick it off, like, tell us just a little bit about, what is Speedy Eats, so people that don't know.
So Speedy Eats is it's a automated restaurant or automated kitchen, a vending machine, however you want to classify it. It's a low labor solution for a pizza, or we built our system so it's universal. Mm-hmm. So you can set it up as a wings unit, an automated wings kitchen, kind of like a Wingstop,
right?
And we have, your entree would be the wings, or the pizza or barbecue meals. We're working with Jay Cody, putting together. We have a 3-compartment to-go tray where you can do a biscuit, mac and cheese, or baked beans, and then your proteins, or pizza, or wings. So we built it so the menu is fairly flexible based on what the operator thinks can be put in that space. But also on top of that entree, we added in a secondary fridge, which stores desserts, dipping sauces, side items. Could be coleslaw, could be potato salad. Like if you set up a barbecue unit, that's adds great depth to your menu. These are all in sealed containers, and then you, of course, you've got your 20-ounce beverage, Coca-Cola, kombucha, stuff like that. So and these are all drive up. We didn't want to get into the space of putting technology into retail spaces, malls. We can put up in airports. That's probably going to be part of our go-to-market strategy. But our sweet spot is really setting up in parking lots. These are bigger buildings. These are bigger automated kitchens than vending machines. So we're not as concerned as having a really small footprint, which is what these automated pizza kiosks are really tuned into. They got to be 32 square feet. Right. We're a 30-foot building by 13. We do food service prep inside the building, load the unit, and then you can leave and it runs, on its own. Or you can have an 8.5 foot by 30, and that's your spoke. So you have a hub where you do the food. It's a bigger building where you can do the food prep, and then you have your spokes all around town, within an 8.5 by 30 foot building where you're just loading it. Right. And there's no food prep, there's no bathroom. In the bigger building, you have a 5 by 8 bathroom, you have a food prep space, you have storage for products. It's like a mini restaurant,
right? But
it's all automated.
Yeah, I think that's obviously the coolest thing that's attracted me to it. Obviously Falaya, we're focused on real estate space, and I just love the idea of what y'all have going on as far as a real estate play for Speedy Fresh, right?
Yeah.
So, Speedy Eats. And so, people have these parking lots that have started to not be utilized as much, maybe because of Amazon, maybe because of other things. Retail's declining. Yeah. They still have people coming in and visiting, but not quite as many as spaces as they once needed, right? Correct. So they have a lot of spaces, just like in the LA Tech Park here, that are open. Yeah. Right. And so we've seen people like Brandon doing that with small sliders, going into these, little neighborhood. Yeah.
Efficient,
small places with a drive-in, drive-out, and he's killing it, right?
That's our system is very similar to theirs. The only difference is in our larger model is the reduction of labor. Mm-hmm. So, right. I haven't looked at their P&Ls. I'm speaking purely from a macro standpoint. When you look at a P&L for just about any restaurant, you're looking at if a restaurant does $1 million in sales. It's 28 to 32% is your payroll. So you're doing annual payroll of 280,000 to 320. So, and it's no knock to him. It's just a purely academic. We're talking mathematics here.
Right.
He can't get away from that, and so he has to employ a certain amount of staff to do all kinds of stuff, loading. Some people are cooking. Some people are talking to customers in the drive-through. Mine's all automated, and it's done all on your phone. You place an order, you get a QR code. We have a cook and hold patent, so you can cook the pizza, you can apply toppings to it, and it goes through our queue, goes through our lineup, our automated lineup, and it ends up in the warmer. And that warmer, what's cool about that is that we filed a patent on it, and nobody else has that type of patent that I'm aware of. I've had it since 2018, so we filed quite a while ago. But if you want to manage logistics, when you're not on site, you'd have to develop a very structured AI system, very complex, multi-million-dollar. But if you develop it to where you have the warmer, and then you have orders coming in from Uber Eats, Grubhub, Waiter, which is now ASAP. You have I forgot the name of the other ones, but your third-party delivery platforms. So those orders are coming in, they're hitting our gateway. We have a Linux gateway, multi-channel, processes to our PLC. Then the PLC knows to batch an order and cook it. And when that system goes in, it rebatches it in the warmer, applying it to certain shelves. And that's a simple way of escaping complex logistics management, meaning a software. You can develop just a simple batching based on a linear count that's coming through. It's says shelf 1, 2, and 3 is where this guy ordered 3 pizzas, so it comes through. 1, 2, and 3 is in the warmer, and when he pulls up, the system just knows to retrieve the products, whatever they are, in shelves 1, 2, and 3, and then it goes to the fridge and it batches that too, so it brings your entree and your beverage and your dessert, dipping sauces, whatever it is, to where you just pick it up in one shelf.
Right. Sorry, man. So that's I guess it is interesting how you could actually get things smoothly into a system without actually making it go all over the place and actually be more efficient. And I would say when you talk about having to staff and make sure people are showing up on time, that they're producing. There's just so many X factors, especially even when COVID happened, right?
Yeah.
So now even safety and health considerations, you could keep a lot of that down.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's a lot that can go into that could be beneficial for the current environment, of controlling that.
In that space, the current turnover rate is 300%. So if you have a restaurant with 7 employees, at the end of the year, a full annual cycle, you've gone through 21 people. That's really hard on an operator. Also, the management. So your management's typically making about $40,000 a year, $36,000 to $42,000. What do you want to pay them, depending on your volume, and their role of responsibility. The other employees are making $10 an hour. That's where you have your turnover. So what we've done is we're paying our employees that run these $20 an hour. You're making $40,000 a year for a job that doesn't require a lot of skill. So it's an entry job at $20 an hour. You can't beat that.
Right.
And the reason why we're doing that is because we don't want the owner to have that high turnover. That's the number one problem in the restaurant space right now, is finding people who want a $10 job hour and keeping them. That's the number one problem. So you only need one person to run 3 of our units. If each one does $500,000 a year, which is 100 pizzas a day, you are at $1.5 million, and you're running 3 units, so you're paying that person not $20 an hour, but $25 an hour. So you got $50,000 payroll a year on $1.5 million in sales. So that's 4% or 3% as compared to that 28 to 32%.
Right.
But you have a happier employee, and they're making $50,000 a year.
Right.
And
and
you
they've
have
got
lower
good
turnover.
balance too, because I would say I've worked in the restaurant business a while when I was younger, and it's hard, right?
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah,
an
I
easy,
did it in college.
It's not an easy gig.
No,
I
it's
mean,
not.
I was a
on
waiter.
your feet all day.
I mean, that's what I tip like.
I was a busboy.
They love me now, dude. They absolutely love me. I'm like tipping at like 25%,
Yeah.
30%
Yeah.
sometimes
Yeah.
because I just
Yeah.
know, you know.
Hey, I've been there.
You know,
Yeah, you
I've
have
been
too.
there, and I'm
Yeah.
like, dude, I'm just gonna tip, you know.
Yeah.
So it's a hard gig. So to your point, if somebody can find a good gig with Speedy Eats and
Yeah.
can make that kind of money and not as much stress too, we used to call it in the weeds, right? You're in
Yeah.
the weeds, like
Yeah.
everybody's yelling at you, this customer's yelling at you.
Yeah.
And
The only-
this could actually get you a little more efficient. You can service the units,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, and it making good money, so low turnover, happier employees. You can train this person to adopt some of the engineering skills, which would be valuable to them, you know, if they went somewhere else. So
Sure.
yeah, I think it's an all around better experience in the restaurant industry. A lot of people are worried that we're taking away jobs, and I think there's some truth to that. But your manufacturing goes way up, which are higher paid jobs. For manufacturing, your entry level is $20.
Right.
So I you know, my argument there that we're taking away jobs, I would say, you know, what is the value of that job if you're making $10 an hour? Because the minimum to get out of poverty is like 26,000 or 28,000,
Right.
something like that. If you're making $10 an hour, that's $20,000 a year. So you're in that position. You have to work 2 jobs to have any type of quality of life or to provide for a family in any capacity.
It has
So
gotten really
that's-
hard, and it's only getting harder right now.
That's right. And the longer you're there, the unhappier you are.
It's not about losing jobs as it is other opportunities becoming available. The tech space and the internet space has allowed anyone to control their income if they really want to. They can learn a trade. They can sell services online. There's Fiverr. There's marketing. There's so many different ways to make money right now.
It's not food service.
Food service is not the only way to make money. So, so anyone that comes at you like that, I really don't believe that that's the case. I think that the jobs just need to go in other directions. It's not that jobs are losing by whole. It's we're becoming more efficient as a society. In my opinion,
a different way to run a restaurant that's more efficient. And there is not an industry around that is not trying to be more efficient.
Right.
So poo-pooing me is not, you know, I don't take any personal offense to it. I try to look at the data, and the data says that, you know, there are going to be higher paying jobs, not as many of them, but higher paying, you're going to have happier people. And those people, by the way, there's like a huge deficit in manufacturing jobs. They cannot find people to fill these positions.
I don't think like it's not like the restaurant business is going away, right?
No,
it's not going anywhere. So it's like me. It's like saying saying Falaya is going to take out realtors.
Yeah.
No, we're not. We're not taking out realtors, people.
Yeah, that's right.
They're going to be here next year.
Yeah.
They're going to be here in 5 years.
Yeah.
They're going to be here in 10 years.
Yeah.
But there is a segment of the market that wants what I sell.
Yeah.
And they want to take on more. They want to just be able to drive up and pick up a pizza.
That's right.
And they don't want to necessarily talk to someone when they're picking up a pizza. They just want to pick it up and go home.
Correct.
Right?
Or order delivery, not talk to anybody.
That's
Just
what I'm
have
saying.
knock on the door and that's it.
I mean, that's, you know, so it's just a segment of the market. It's not the whole market. And that's what people try to lump you into the whole market. And that's just not the reality of the situation.
It's not. I'm a piece of it.
Yeah.
And you know, there's 77,000 pizzerias in the U.S. right now.
Jeez.
32,000 of them or 34,000 are, I think it's 40% are independently owned, less than 15 chains. So mom and pops, and the rest are Little Caesars, Domino's, all those big guys. And
so do you see your competition being more the big guys or the mom and pops?
I think that well, we have around 540 operator leads that have come in the last, I'd say, 5 months.
Okay.
And I've spoken. I went and Sanjay and I, our chief of engineering, he's wearing a lot of hats right now. He's scheduling these calls for me on Calendly, and I would have 5 a day.
Ooh.
Yeah, and they were hour-long calls talking to potential operators. So, and I talked to about 200 of them over maybe an 8-week period, I think, 6 to 8 weeks.
Good for you.
Oh, it was
That's a
brutal.
grind.
It was
That's
brutal.
awesome.
I was tired. At the end of it, I told Sanjay, I said,
Talk about
delete Calendly. Get rid of it.
Talk about customer discovery. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that was it. I learned a lot
that's
about what they were looking for.
That's what we do. You know,
We talked to some large convenience store chains, thousands of units, big guys. And I talked to the small guys too. They all like our tech. They love being able to put something out there that can do high volume and high profitability. Your net margin with us after our support, you know, we have a SaaS model software. We have we do the maintenance. We do we contract it out, but we make a little there. We make a little bit on the credit card transactions. We make a little bit on everything. We've balanced it. But even after all of that, the net margin should be around 20 to 25% for operators. If you looked at a restaurant doing $1 million a year, they're netting around 5 to 7%.
Really?
Yep. The range is 2 to 15%, but the overwhelming majority, about 85% of those restaurants that are well managed, probably your guy at Small Sliders is doing that because he's well managed. He knows what he's doing. He's got a system worked out. The guys that don't have a system like him, and he could be doing 15%. I don't want to put words in his mouth. The range is 2 to 15%.
It is all about processes.
Yeah,
that's what
5 to 7% is the median. That's where most people fall. A mismanaged restaurant does 2% or net loss. You know, but the overwhelming majority of 5 to 7%. So if you're doing $1 million in sales, on the bottom line, you're doing 50 to 70,000. If I do $500,000 in sales, I'm netting 100 to 125,000. Twice the profitability. I'm around $250,000, $300,000 for the startup. So I'm much less to get into the market. The entry is the barriers much lower, and the return on capital, your return on investment, your capital outlay that you get back is not 7 to 10 years, which is a traditional brick and mortar. It's 2 years.
Right.
So, that's what I gathered from talking to those 200 operator leads. That's what I gathered. They were interested in that. As long as you got a good product and you can deliver it and be consistent, you got a product. And our thing is that we just take that labor from 28 to 32% down to around 4%, maybe 6 to 7% if you're just running one. And everything else, your 3 big ticket items that you reduce, you're more efficient. It's 3. It's your labor, it's your energy, your utilities, and your rental. All of those as a ratio of sales are much lower, significantly lower. Right. And that is what brings that from 5 to 7% up to 20 to 25%.
Right.
And that's your efficiency.
I mean, it's a game changer for somebody that's, trying to get into that space. And obviously, especially if you already have a restaurant and you're already in that.
You just use your existing kitchen.
I mean, that's what
you don't have any additional payroll. I mean, unless you're going to pay somebody extra, to take on this role, which you probably would.
You might,
Yeah. It depends on the operator, but that's out of our hands. I would suggest $20 to $25 an hour for an operator, because that's where you're going to get your low turnover. And that's what, from what I've gathered, is the number one problem that operators are having, going through so many employees.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's obviously a great idea. I guess my question is, how did you come up with this idea? I know people always ask me that. It's like the entrepreneur question.
Yeah. Where did it come from?
When did it come from, and when did you think it was a great idea?
I had a bad experience at a McDonald's in Winsboro, Louisiana.
Okay.
And it wasn't a horrible experience. It was just the credit card machine was down. I pulled up and handed the lady a credit card, and it she got on to me kind of a jarring experience a little bit, but it wasn't I wasn't fearing for my life. She must have been having a bad day.
Right.
But for me, it kind of upset me. So I gave her cash. I had cash. And so I pulled around. I looked, what is she talking about? And I looked, it was an 8.5 by 11 thing. They had taped on the vertical tabs of a sheet of paper, 8.5 by 11, and they had a handwritten message, credit card machine down. It was down on the, you know how big McDonald's menu is. It's like, it's like this big thing that it's like your focal point is all these items you're reading it, and I did not look at the poll.
Right.
What? You didn't say. You should have told me before I pulled up. Hey,
Right.
look at the poll. There's a message. But anyway, so from that, by the time I'd gotten from Winsboro to Baton Rouge, I'm not a mechanical engineer, but I was so upset. I had figured out how to build an automated hamburger machine, and I built it on my
Right.
dining room table.
Uh-huh.
And that was my first fiance.
Okay.
That was the end of that one.
That was it.
It was me or to this thing.
Yeah.
And and I wasn't engaged to her, so it's not truly fiance, but it was close.
Right.
And but it was an ultimatum, and I was like, I was having so much fun building this
Right.
thing. I was going to Dakota's kitchen supply
Sure.
over here and buying parts
Sure.
and putting it together. I had no experience in anything with mechanical anything.
Right.
And I'd put it together, and I'd studied. I'd talked to a bunch of engineers. I spent about $60,000 generating designs with a firm, an engineering firm. And my thing that I had built on my table was what they call a bench model. It's non-functional.
Right.
It's a representation.
Right.
And people make them out of cardboard. People make all kinds of stuff as your MVP, just
Sure.
saying this is what it's going to look like. But after talking to a bunch of engineers over 2 years, I knew that I could build what I had on my table. 100% sure it would be an automated hamburger system and the French fries too.
Right.
And I always wanted to do cooking and holding. That was always part of my patent, which is what I ended up patenting for my pizza system.
Right.
Because even at McDonald's, they have warmers, and you have to cook and hold, and that's your way to do the logistics.
Right. No doubt. You can't handle the volume.
Yeah, but that system would have cost $1.6 to $1.8 million, so I left it alone because I'm not going to raise that much money from scratch. So I came up with this other design, which is a universal design. I can do wings, I can do pizza, I can do barbecue, and it was a cook and hold. And I just took kind of what I'd learned over those 2 years and applied it to a new design, and I scaled back the complexity. So there's no end of arm tooling that's touching the food, which is a big. Once you do that, you got bacteria.
Right. You've got
Crossover, contamination, all kinds of stuff.
Yep.
And you need to clean. You need a water solution. You need a chemical detergent. You need a filtration system. It goes on and on. It does not stop. And then you got maintenance on that is a nightmare. So I had reduced it to just a system that can take a box with something in it, run it through a conveyor oven that is the same conveyor oven that most restaurants use.
Right.
And I partnered with the largest manufacturer out there, is Middleby Corp. And we don't have a formal partnership, but I'm certainly going to try to move in that direction.
Yeah.
But they're allowing us to plug my PLC into their control board. And that allows me to open up my fridge to total customization, meaning I can create in my our software developers can create a pre-programmed icon that represents a shelf and a fridge. I can type in the parameters for cooking, the nutritional facts, which we do from a third-party food scientist, drop that in, drop in a picture of it, and then hit send, and it uploads to the operator. They can drag and drop that and custom build their fridge. So they can sell whatever they want. You want to do tacos? There's little mini tacos or jalapeno
Right.
poppers or taquitos.
Right.
That's what's the restaurant with the guy with the white head? Flippies? Jack's back? Jack in the Box? Jack in the
Jack
Box.
in the Box.
Jack in the Box.
Jack in the
That
Box.
was so close.
That was
But,
good.
Yeah, they have mini tacos. I go there. I used to go there all the time. And we get the mini tacos. They had jalapeno poppers, and they have taquitos. Well, I can do those great because they come in par-baked.
They
like
already
that.
do,
Yeah,
yeah.
you're just warming them up.
Just warming them up.
That's it. That's all they do.
Right. That's all they're doing. Man, that's jalapeno poppers they had there. They had a good dipping sauce too.
Yeah, get some ranch, and we do the ranch too.
Oh, dude, those burgers,
just
too,
automated.
they're greasy. Jack in the Box is greasy, boy.
Yeah, you don't want to do that on a diet.
No, that's not. That ain't your low-cal place when you're going to work out.
Yeah,
man. That's definitely not it.
That's right.
So, who all do you have on the team right now, or what's your team makeup? You and
well, I've got a CFO. We can't afford to pay her a full-time. She's totally way talented, way overqualified for what she's doing right now. And I'm trying to bring her on full-time. Her name's Juliana. She's our CFO. A CFO is a service part-time right now. And there's me.
Understandable at this stage.
Huh?
Yeah, understandable at this stage.
Yeah. And so you got 2 full-time people on payroll. And I'm about to drop off payroll for 6 to 8 months, as long as it takes our engineers to build our 2nd generation unit, which we just signed a contract today. So it's 8 months from now, we should have a unit that we're dropping into the market, and then I'll hopefully pick up my payroll again then and have an income. But so it's really just going to be Sanjay on payroll full time, but he's doing a lot of the work.
Yeah,
right now. He's really talented.
He is talented.
Yeah,
talk to him,
and he likes what he's doing. For the job that he's doing, he's allowed like full reins on creativity, and I don't put any restrictions down. I let him come up with his own designs. Like we have Mitch Rotolo wanted us to design and build a pizza slicing mechanism for maybe our 3rd generation. And we have our pizza box where we pop in a little pizza cutter to our box right now. We're going to come out of the chute with that, but we'll be building that pizza slicer, and he built his own thing. I didn't have to give him. Well, I did tell him the scope. You need you need to be able to sharpen the blade, clean the blade, and dry the blade.
Right.
And then you need to cut. And he designed something based on that, and it'll work. I looked at it. It'll probably work.
Yeah. Well, we do that with our developers, right? We're writing stories.
Yeah.
We give them loose direction on what we want to do and how we want to do it, and let them kind of come up with a little bit of how to do it. We don't tell them how to code or how to do anything.
Yeah.
I mean, we give them wireframes and tell them how to kind of put it together. But at the end of the day, they're the ones developing it, and they're the ones that are going to.
I think it's the best that way.
It needs to be some collaboration. There needs to be some direction.
Yeah.
There's got to be someone steering the ship.
It's got to be a milestone by milestone, and then whenever you hit that milestone, get into the next one, you want to set some parameters. But I don't have to do any of that with Sanjay. He's runs his own stuff.
That's good.
Self-managing.
Yeah, I like that too.
Yeah.
Jacob, self-managing over there, right? Anyway, so I guess what about? I know you're about to do some financing, or you are doing financing right now. So let's kind of dive in. I guess all of us are in startup mode. We are too. Like we're trying to stay lean. But we all need capital to try to go the distance. Everyone's got a great idea, but unfortunately, it takes money to make ideas come to life. So, this pesky little thing. So, how is that going? What is your process, and where are you at in that?
So far we've raised. I raised $250,000 on my first stint, my first round. It was pre-seed. And we did another pre-seed for $250, but the first $250 I built what you see in that lab, and so pretty lean on that. We built it in Shreveport, and then let's see, it's been 14 months we've had that in this lab, a year and 2 months. So we raised the $250, then we raised another $250, which prepared us and got us through some R&D up to about December of last year. And then we decided to go with Start Engine, which we're on their platform. It's startengine.com.
No, absolutely. There's your camera right there. There's your camera. Say it in there, buddy.
Start Engine, and go type in the search bar Speedy Eats. It may be under Speedy Fresh, because we originally tried to trademark that, and that's what we originally went with them. Then I changed because our attorney said we couldn't. So we're listed as Speedy Fresh, but it's really Speedy Eats. But so we started at about $525,000 I had raised individually. going door to door basically.
Right.
Or, call on call. I did probably 5,000 calls to raise that. And then we did the start engine, and it's been pretty good. We raised 336,000 so far. And we've got other, people who are investing the long and short of it is that we have the financing in place to build the second gen unit, which is all I was wanting to do.
Right.
Hardware and software.
Right.
So that's really just my prime milestone that I'm trying to hit right now, is just having the second generation ready to be installed in Baton Rouge. I have my mock site plans being developed by a local architecture firm. I got 3 to 4 of those being designed right now, just sketches. But it'll tell everything. It'll tell the electrical. A big part of it is you have 20-degree angles that you need for your drive-through, and you have car stacking. So you have to fit 4 to 6 cars in your drive-through, and so we're talking with the permitting office and doing all that stuff right now. But I should have my first plans by Thursday or Friday of this week. Yeah. So I've never had any mock site plans, but I was talking to Ozzy, and Ozzy was like, "Do you have any mock site plans?" I'm talking to some real estate people. I was like, "I don't have any of that." He's like, "You need to get some." I was like, "All right." So I kind of picked up the phone and made some calls.
You do need to know that, right? So
it's important.
How much space is it going to take up in the parking lot?
Yeah.
How's it going to flow?
Yeah.
You probably have to have a couple different
We
directions.
have
right?
different drive-through.
We have
different drive-through configurations. One's a wraparound. One's like an S shape. One comes around from another side. And it just depends on where you set up in that parking lot, I think, is what determines that.
Right, exactly.
And where your lines are coming from is important. Your sewage. We have a bigger building, and we have a smaller building. The smaller building, I don't think it's going to need a grease trap or any of that stuff. It just needs electrical. But the larger one, we do food service. We do food prep on site. We do storage. It's a 13-foot by 30 building. It's bigger. And and you have a bathroom on it, and so you need sewage, water, grease trap, and your electrical, obviously. So those, you have to put into the plans and figure out where they're going to come from.
Right. Yeah. It's not as easy as people think, right? I think that's what. So I guess that leads me to another question. When you first started this, I guess do you think how easy did you think this was going to be when you first started? I guess when an entrepreneur, did you think it was going to happen faster than it was happening now, or slower, or as much effort as you were? Where I know I have some thoughts on it, but I'm interested on yours.
I don't remember thinking about how long it would take. I know my board wants me to move faster than I am.
Right. I mean, who doesn't? Once you get money, dude.
Well, look, there's a catch-22 on that. You move faster, you're more likely to fail.
I would agree.
And if I would have moved as fast, I'm not trying to point the finger at anybody. I'm just saying, looking back at it retrospectively, if we had moved as fast as they had wanted us to, the original folks who came in and invested and were on our board, if we had moved as fast as we had, and I hadn't done the research, the extensive testing that we've done, which has provided us with empirical data, knowing everything about that system and how the drive-through would work, all that kind of stuff. If we would have tried to move back then to where we are about to move with this new engineer, the team of engineers, we would have failed. Yeah, I would definitely would have failed. And the design was not fully, it wasn't fully formed like it is right now. We know what we're doing.
I kind of agree with you. So if if I had raised money a year and a half ago, say $1 million, million and a half or whatever, and raised around and was all excited and took on a bunch of employees, and the market was smoking hot, and then where would I be right now? The real estate market's kind of people were a little worried. It would
Yeah.
be harder to raise capital in this environment at this current moment. And like, how would that work when we didn't have our full customer acquisition funnel done, and all of our landing pages and our follow-ups and our sales scripts and our playbooks that are all honed in at this point?
You don't learn all that stuff until it takes time.
I would agree.
To figure all this stuff out, because like a normal restaurant, it's pretty cookie cutted. You know what you're doing. You're going to buy some equipment. You know what the equipment does. You create your menu. You go create a website. It's not that simple, obviously, but it's not as complex as what.
But you can ebb and flow with more people or less people. You're a software and hardware business.
And if you do it wrong the first time, you're
toast. There's no let's hire five more people.
You can't raise more money on that. If you don't get it right the first time, it's just, sorry, Charlie, you didn't
I kind of agree with you. And once the software goes out there, people, like right now, we're getting nothing but 5-star reviews. People are telling other people about it. But what if we were this big behemoth and all this traffic was coming to us and nobody was getting good service? Everybody thought we were shit.
Yeah.
And now the reviews are no longer 5-star, they're 3, and we don't have good processes in place to convert and close. Like the other thing is, it's not just about listing houses with us, it's about closing houses and getting a good product to the closing table, right? And the same with you. It's not just about, oh, hey, we got a location. It's about, hey, I want someone to really get a good pizza.
Yeah,
and then I want the operator to go and tell 10 other operators that this is badass.
Yeah,
and you need to
You're
do
gonna make
this.
money.
You need to do this. Same thing with us. Like, we want people to go and be like, oh my God, have you seen what Falaya is doing? It's unbelievable, right? And the only way you're going to do this is if your product is really, really, really good.
Yeah. I'm fortunate, I would say, in that I did not raise as much capital as I wanted to in the beginning, because it caused us, it's kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like, it caused us to be slow, and the board wanted to move fast. I certainly did too, but because we were slow and I had time to process everything, and when we made little iterations and we were like looking at all this technology that was coming out, kiosks that we're setting up, and these things this guy's claiming he's going to put 30,000 locations in, and your brain fries when you do that. You're like, oh my God, he's ahead of me. But then you really look at it and you start studying it. I've studied my competitors' designs. I like mine better. And I'm not saying that with bias. I mean, I'm speaking categorically. I think mine has a much lower failure rate. I cook the pizza in the box, so when the food particulates like cheese and stuff like that won't fall out into the moving components.
Right.
Those conveyor belts are very expensive. Some are $12,000-$15,000 just for a small section. And so you mess that up, and you've just taken 3-4 months of profit away from your operators. And so I am fortunate that we moved slowly, and nobody cut us $1 million check, because I was like extreme pressure, and I figured out where our space was by having enough time to study what was going on, and then coming to the realization who we were and how we fit into the market. And I believe our technology, I believed it in the beginning, but it was fuzzy. Right. Now it's come into focus like a Leopold scope, and I'm like, I know exactly where we're going. I know what the challenge is. I know what the opportunity is. How, if we do this, really knock it out of the park, do great. We formed a partnership with Picnic, which allows us now to apply up to 9 toppings. I massaged that relationship with them for 2 years. So it took a while for them to come around, and because they're linear automation too.
Right. And
I could just drop theirs into my system, and we realize that, and that kicks us into the delivery space.
Right.
And there's really 3 categories out there. There are kiosks that go indoors. There are kiosks that are stationary outdoors, and then there are mobile automated kitchens that people are trying to build into mobile platforms that are moving. And
really? I haven't seen that as much, I guess.
Yeah, because they failed.
Yeah, that's a lot of moving parts, right? I mean,
the problem is that this guy, he raised, and I know him on LinkedIn, so I hope he doesn't see this and get mad, but he raised $425 million. I'm not going to say the name of the company, but he did it in the back of a bread truck, And his idea was that he's going to have this automated kitchen that goes and parks in a parking lot, and you can park your truck where the data tells you you're centrally located, and you don't have to pay rent. You don't have to do all this stuff. You do have a commissary. These are for big cities. Well,
Right.
What he didn't throw into the equation is every time he hit a bump, here's automated equipment that's sensitive like this is not made to be bumped around. And all
I
that
would
stuff.
agree. No.
And then he was holding his products for too long. That was another thing. I read his reviews, customer reviews on Yelp, and they were saying that the pizza was sitting in too long in the warmers because this guy would go park and he would not move until an order came in. And then we'd try to go deliver real quick. His thing was trying to get 5-minute delivery. He raised $425 million on this.
He's in San Fran?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And
this isn't Uber, right? Is this Travis Kelce?
No. This is no.
He
It's
did something like that. Ghost Kitchens.
no. This thing is called Zoom.
Okay.
Zoom Pizza,
All right.
and they rebounded. The guy's really intelligent.
I
Alex
mean,
is his
obviously,
name.
he wouldn't have raised that money.
No, but he had a fallback, and he has a packaging company now that I'm planning on buying from.
Okay.
It's this bamboo sugarcane bagasse trays.
Oh, cool.
Real sharp guy, so he knew what he was doing. But he for as far as his automation project fell because he was doing the moving around. There's another company called Stellar, or Stellar Pizza. They're an automated platform. They have 3. I read the article maybe a week ago, and watched the video on their system. It's cool, but they're putting it in a truck.
I'm gonna tell you, like I used to make glasses, right? I was a lab manager at iMasters, and we had that automated systems would cut the lenses into the shape of the glasses and shape them, and then we would sand them and polish them, and all that. And I'm telling you, dude, if you got off by even a little bit, I mean, it would throw the whole thing off.
Yeah.
I mean, especially with the focal point of a lens, it was really a big deal. But
That's what's going on here. You
but
hit a
same
big
thing.
bump,
yeah,
and you're in trouble. And it's not like you can't. I don't think, knock on wood, I don't think that you can develop your driving technology or teach your drivers how to avoid every pothole. There are mistakes that just happen. Like that can't be a part of your business plan. Let's
better
be
not.
serious.
I'm gonna be honest with you. You better not come to New Orleans.
Pothole prevention.
Dude, I'm gonna tell you what. New Orleans will
Driving courses.
Dude, I'm serious, man.
Yeah.
I wonder how many tires I popped in New Orleans. It's not even funny, dude. I think it was like a built-in tax living in New Orleans.
Yeah.
The amount of tires that I
Yeah, it
popped.
is. I've seen those roads.
I mean, dude, seriously, it'll take your tires out.
It is. So I don't think, in those types of cities, I don't know what San Francisco is like, or, I've been to Austin.
Boy. They got some hills.
But I just don't like the design of trying to calibrate something that's in a moving truck, because you do have, let's say you have the best shock system in the world, like a Cadillac that's just floating along. That ain't going to save you either, I don't think, because you're just going to hit something too hard one day. It's going to make it to where you're constantly calibrating that thing, your system. If you're constantly calibrating your system, your downtime is big, and your maintenance is big. Your maintenance as a ratio of your cells should be in the 2 to 4% range, by the way. And if you're hitting a bump and you have,
Sure,
you're not going to do it. You're going to totally mess up.
Yeah.
So, like I said before, there's 3 categories. There's kiosks that they put indoors. Ours can be indoors or outdoors. I have partnerships with self-pouring alcohol systems. Pour My Beer. I have Tapville, Joseph Toto, and I have Tended Bar, Justin. And those 3 companies, I have some more. I Pour It and some other ones. But if I want to set these things up in retail spaces and make an automated pizza pub, those are my guys. I can partner with them. That's my indoor. If I want to put into a airport, I'm best suited for it because I patented the warmer. If you go into an airport, you're in a rush. And if you can't cook and hold the products so that when people are scanning their phone and grabbing that pizza within 20 seconds, then you're creating a line. Also, our system serves side items and beverages. If you have a kiosk that's serving just a pizza and you get the pizza, but then you got to go run to the store to get a Coke.
Yeah.
Well, then what did you solve? What did you really solve? Yeah. So, you see what I'm saying? You got to think way ahead of these things. So my thing was, okay, if I'm indoor, I'm doing this. And I think we have a really good shot at being the best indoors. But if you're doing outdoors, don't put it in a truck. There's two solutions. You can make it mobile, you make it stationary. My thing was make it stationary because you contract with somebody. We're talking to Pitney Bowes, really well-known company, and they do the maintenance. They're going to be doing the maintenance for us. So if you're doing that, you want to make it really easy for them to, just come out one time one time a month. It's, $300 service call. I'm making a little money on that too, on the back end. But they have replacement parts on site on our larger buildings. So if it goes down, you can get the downtime to a very minimum. That's part of our package, by the way. You buy a $175,000 automated kitchen, but you have to buy $10,000 worth of spare parts. Then those are your stepper motors. Those are your conveyor tracks. Those are things that are having the most friction. And you bundle those into a parts. We have a contract that we're working on with Automation Direct and Parts Town.
Got you.
When you buy our unit, you get a bundle of parts, and then something goes down, Pitney Bowes shows up, they replace the part. They have an inventory on hand to replace it. Our software automatically creates a PO, sends it to Parts Town. It delivers whether or not the operator wants to do it or not. They have no control. If they do the part, it sends a replacement part for your bundle because you want a degree of separation.
You don't want any downtime.
Correct.
I mean, the bottom line is
so we trying to think.
Smart.
Yeah.
That's smart. That's really smart to think 2 steps ahead like that.
Yeah.
Here, mobile. Here's my idea, just on the cuff.
What's that?
What if you took it to the air, dude?
Yeah.
Like
we do have a partner. What I mean? We have 2 partners in that space.
Would there be no bumps on the road if you ain't on the road? You know what I mean?
We have 2 partners in that space, and we have some bunch of drone companies that want to work for us, but we have 2 mailbox companies that are electric mailboxes. Yeah. One's Drone Deck and the other one's Valkyrie. We're working with both, and they're great companies. You can put this thing in your front yard or right next to your house, and the drone comes in, shelf opens, you drop the pizza in, and it closes. And that's their technology. I've partnered up with them because I see that as being, if the FAA approves it, that's going to be a potential avenue for us.
Got you. So you would partner up with the people that are doing that software, and then you could sell more pizzas out of your automated kitchen, right? Yeah. That's smart. Because you don't need to do everything.
Yeah, you don't want to be everything to everybody, but their drones can land on our units. We can make a way to lower the product in there. I can load it from the warmer. And you have some safety stuff that you have to do, like there have to be 2 windows that open, because when the first one comes down, you have to close behind it, open the second one, and close down. So you can't allow external contaminants. So it's got to be done a certain way. I've thought through it, but that's an avenue that we can take down the road, is doing air delivery. We're not there where we're close enough to be able to do it.
It's like the things that we have on tap.
Maybe
like there's things that we have on our roadmap that are 5 to 7 years.
That's right.
And the investors sometimes get excited about that, and everybody gets real excited about that, and we're gonna.
I can't do anything about it.
I know, right? Like
it's there.
It's a possibility that we could sell a house as an NFT. I mean, start closing houses as an NFT, and this is all real, and it probably will happen at some point. Is it going to happen this year? No. Yeah. Right? Not really. Not at scale.
It's on the agenda.
It's on the agenda. Yeah. There's other things with automation and home automation, but all those things are things that you think about and you plan for, but you still got to focus on the day and the execution.
That's right. So I've planted the seed with these folks. They're good people. Good. They're entrepreneurs. Just
I like the name Valkyrie.
Yeah, Valkyrie. Drone Deck's pretty cool too.
Dude,
those 2 guys are a lot of fun to work with.
Where are they located?
They're up north.
Okay.
I don't know where each one's located. I think one's in the north, and one guy may be out of California. I'm not sure.
I love the name.
They're 2 fun guys to
work with. I'm going to have to check it out.
They do have good technology, and it's something that we can use. So I see the potential is there.
Is there anywhere that's allowing stuff like that, or are they doing test flights?
They are allowing. The FAA has opened it up for only hospital healthcare type. That's the priority.
So What? Why?
And I haven't
What's
really.
the theory on that?
It's size of the item, transport, the priority. If somebody's dying, probably more important than somebody getting a burrito.
No. Oh, so not delivering food, delivering
healthcare products. Yeah.
Products.
So they
okay, I'm sorry. I was like, why are we delivering food to hospital people, dude?
This guy's over here dying on his bed. Can I please get my insulin or whatever he's waiting on? No, sir. There's 2 burritos ahead of you.
Hey, did you get my Coke with that? And my chips.
Yeah, my chips.
Don't forget my chips.
Please don't forget it. I cannot survive. Please kill me if I don't get this in 10 minutes.
That's too funny, man.
But that's what I've read. That's what they're doing the testing. FAA has opened it up to go to directly to a hospital rooftop.
Yep.
And they are doing something to where if you're a drone flyer, you have to register with the FAA, and you have to tell them where you're doing your stuff from if it's not automated, because some stuff will be automated. But you have to register before you get into the pipeline of flying down a channel, because the FAA wants to know who you are, what you're carrying. You make sure that they don't have terrorists, I guess. I don't know. I don't know why they're doing that, but there may be a logistics thing. They want to know, but they also want to know, some guy gets on the thing and he's delivering a grenade.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely
Who
need to
are
be
you?
tracking.
What are you carrying? It's just like
it's a safety
interstate
issue.
Yeah,
I mean, obviously we've seen that. So
I don't see why people couldn't do that if they wanted to cause havoc. What's from stopping them?
I mean, there's a million things, but
yeah,
I mean, I think there's way more good stuff that can come out of that.
Yeah, I think
if
so
it gets controlled in the right manner, like to your point, delivering necessary goods. I actually saw some of that where that was happening, and they actually were doing that in Africa, and they were delivering because there were no restrictions. There's no FAA.
I talked to
so they
some
were
guys from Nigeria.
Yeah,
I don't know if
they were doing it. They were doing it over there as like a humanitarian aid.
Yeah,
but they were really just test flighting their
yeah.
stuff to bring back to the U.S.
getting their
to
data.
commercialize.
Yeah,
that's exactly what they were doing.
I've talked to,
but they were doing
guys
both. I mean, they were obviously providing a good service, but they were also thinking about commercializing it on the back end, right?
Yeah.
So kill two good stones,
Yeah,
two birds.
And they've got
two stones.
Two stones with 2 good birds.
I don't even know.
You mixed up the.
I did.
2. A bird in the hand is better than 2 in the bush.
That's right.
With the 2 stones.
Yeah,
that's good.
That's good stuff.
They are doing a lot of flight stuff in Ireland. There's this guy named Bobby. I forgot his last name, but he's killing it over there. He's got
Ireland.
like a
He's
pretty,
delivering beer or what?
Probably
right?
That and whiskey. And but he has like an open field.
Okay.
And he's got these little like a thing that kind of fits into the ground, as I understand it. And a call comes in, the thing pops out, it goes, does whatever, and then comes back. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And but he's making a lot of money. He put on LinkedIn his route in streaks. So on a aerial photograph, it like shows how many deliveries he's made. It's like 50,000 at this point, and he's like, yeah, it's good to know. Bobby Healy, I think is his name.
Yeah, I mean, especially in areas like that where it's like Africa and some of these rural areas, like where it could take you a hot minute and the roads aren't even that good. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I don't know. I think that's where it could even deliver more value.
Yeah, and save gas too.
And safety of some of these people traveling across these long
areas
when they don't have
that case,
and where they don't have cars. Some people just don't have cars.
Yeah.
They need access
if
to
you
medical.
have to pick up and go drive 20 miles, you're wasting a lot of gas when somebody could just drone it to you in that use case.
I agree.
And then it's just battery life. You just gets there, it gets back, you charge it again, and
I think hopefully that does open up. But it's interesting if that did come into your space and what that could do. Yeah.
Flying pizzas around.
Dude,
I'll be doing it.
Yeah.
I can definitely pull that off, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I'd welcome it. If you get to LSU, I'm not too far from there, man. I'll order
zipping one over to
I will, man.
5-minute pizza delivery.
I got a QR code right here. Yeah.
Yeah. We looked at doing a box for it that we could drop down. Just a preliminary stuff, like can this be done? Original feasibility stuff. Right.
Yeah. So I guess what is your initial expansion plans, or what are your kind of battle plans on go to market and then
My original plan, we're working with a franchise group to help us design territories.
Franchises.
And we're working with a couple different groups. One of them's Louisiana National Bank. They do our financing, our operator financing. So if a guy comes in and he's got X liquidity, X net worth, X FICO score, and he meets the criteria, we can work with him. And that's for somebody needing financing. Otherwise, we just look at their personal financial statement and say, okay, this guy can roll with this. Like somebody coming, Las Vegas or something like that, a big territory where you don't want to just put one in. Every 6 months you should be putting another one in.
Right.
So we have a pretty fast, like a 2 to 3 month cycle where manufacturing's done. I can install. I can do the development on the permitting, all that stuff.
Oh,
at
really?
the same time. Yeah, it's fast.
That's pretty fast. Yeah.
It's fast. Because you do all the manufacturing and it's just drop and show. You really just got to do your plans, your permitting, develop that space. It's like 2,500 square feet in a plat for a parking lot.
Right.
And you run your lines to it and you're ready.
Gotcha.
And so, with with a restaurant, it takes about a year, maybe longer sometimes, to get all this stuff done.
Sure.
It's just more. It's more stuff.
It is more. Well, you obviously have the public coming inside, and there's a lot more.
We don't do.
There's a lot of more safety that comes into play in that situation when the public's coming in.
Yeah.
It raises the bar.
Yeah. So we're a faster sales cycle. So I'm working on that, creating or identifying our sales cycle as a process, and I've got Ross Ford who's helping us out on an executive level in sales. But the battle plan is we don't want to warehouse these technologies. I'm not a distribution. I don't want to do that. I've been in distribution before. I've owned a paper company. I don't want to do that again, sitting on inventory. So what we've come up with is we have around 540 operators right now that want to buy.
Right.
They're not all going to be qualified. And once you go through your vetting process and see which ones are going to do financing and which ones are qualified for financing, you're probably going to narrow it down to maybe 5% of those 500. That's 25. So that's probably going to be our first batch. I'll close. But I got those 540 leads, or the majority of them, probably 480, off of $5,000 worth of marketing. Just on social media, I created a commercial where it's, if you're you want to be an operator, and then I had a 3D thing that showed what it looked like.
I've seen it. Yeah.
Yep, and then we got all the leads. It was like 20 or 30 a day, and I was like, finally shut it down, and because I started doing those calls.
Yeah.
And it's talking to him for an hour and 5 hours out of a day. Was exhausted at the end of it, so I was like, shut it down.
Right. Yeah.
I really was. I told Sanjay one day, I was like, it's enough. I don't want to talk to anybody.
Well, I mean, you got to be ready to close and do everything. And that's another thing. It's like, we're meeting with these third-party providers for Falaya, and all these people want to jump on the ship. And is the ship ready for them? Right?
That's right.
You know what I mean? Like all these lenders and these insurance brokers, they all want to be a part of. Yeah. They all want a piece of the pie.
Yeah. Yeah.
But when is the right time to bring them inside and to provide that service? And so sometimes you have to, we're almost there, but we're not quite there, and we're coming.
Yeah.
But it's like, how do you balance that?
Yeah. The way that I'm looking at it, and it's probably going to be subject to change as we go, because everything does change. 6 to 8 months, I'm installing my second gen. I'm going to use that list of 500, start sending them out emails and say, fly in. Fly into Baton Rouge, put yourself up at a hotel, and go through our drive-through. Order delivery from your hotel room, and come to our office. I'll show you. We're creating a little university training school for the hardware, software, and food prep.
I would agree. That's what you need to do.
Week-long training course.
That's what I've seen a lot of these people that are successful do. So that's great.
We have to do it.
I would agree.
Because if something goes down and Pitney Bowes can't get there for a day, they may just go do their own spot. Like replacing a servo motor is not difficult. We can train how to do that. But setting up so 6 to 8 months, start bringing them in, close 25, 30, 40 deals maybe 100. I would be really impressed if we did 100. But, I could go theoretically put $20, $30, $40,000 more into after I install my unit. Max times 8 or 10 times our original budget. We bought in 500, and I may be bringing in 10 or 20,000 warm leads, and then I convert those, and that's 100, 200, 300. I don't know if that's really where I want to go, because I think 20 or 30 locations is enough.
Oh, it's substantial enough to know if the thing's going to work. And
yeah.
You kind of almost want.
But to learn.
You want to learn.
Yeah, the customer
service. That's what I
service.
say. Like, our
we do the customer service.
200 listings. It's like we're starting to see, like, where do people come? Where's their pain points? How can we solve those pain points better? And you're also got to think about how can you service your
what's our operation?
You have software as a service as a mechanism, and you have other things. So you want those guys to be satisfied, and you want them to be telling other people about.
Probably 20 or 30 is like way like that's the most you want to do, and have everybody else on a waiting list.
That's a great year.
Yeah,
I would say
and
if you did that,
and then they send me the money. If they're financing or whatever, after the vetting process, if these are our core guys, and they're positioned in big cities, and we close the deal from them, I just take their money, give it to the manufacturer. I'm selling our units at cost, our hardware, because what you want to get it to is after you install, and that's where you make your money. You're making 10 to 15% of what they make.
Right.
That's where the money is. Your recurring revenue. So, I bring that money in. I create the pre-order. Once I install the unit, I'll probably create 20, 30 pre-orders, and I'll siphon it off. That's it. And then we run the rest of our testing for another year. That's 18. That puts us at 18 months. Bring our stuff in, have final files to send to the manufacturer. I have the money for them to manufacture. It's going to take them about 6 months to get everything installed and get everybody running and get the IT plan. We're working with Azure, with Microsoft. So get all that stuff. Take that 6 months to really hire a professional team, because I probably may not be the right guy for that. I'll probably have a co-CEO, somebody who's got some real skills.
Well, it's a whole other thing, franchising and how that all plays out, and and
it's a lot of work.
It is. I mean, it's definitely is, and there's certain people that have already done that, and they know how to do that successfully.
Yeah.
And you got to partner with the right people.
That's right.
Right. You don't.
That's right. And that from month 18 to 24, that's 6 months. That's when I'm hiring a professional team. I may go to look at raising capital from a VC firm that specializes in food service. They'd have no reason to not invest. If I've got a unit out there that I've optimized, I've got sales data, I've got all.
I mean, that's
what
exactly. I mean, I hate to bring up Smalls, but that's what they did, right? They did that one thing, Bob Nicholson, right? And it was
that's what they were doing.
That's what they did. They did it for a year. They showed their P&L.
That's right.
A year and a half. Then they opened a second location on Bluebonnet.
Yeah.
And they opened a third location in Prairieville, and then you saw them raise
$10 million.
They just raised $10 million.
Yeah, that's
off of
probably
that.
what we'll
you
end
see
up
what I'm
doing.
saying? Like, so
that's probably
that
what
model,
we're
you're
following the
already,
same one.
Dude,
yeah,
I would agree.
It's the same thing.
Yeah, that's it, dude. That's what you need to do.
Yeah,
right?
Getting used to like knowing from an operator standpoint. That's what you do in that first test. That's what he was doing. I would assume. Learning how to run a business and getting his system, his metrics in line, his operational ratios. He probably knows like that.
Yeah, and at first I know they had problems at that first. You got to also
get those
overcome
out
the problems. Like we know what's in our software, there's always technical debt.
Yeah.
There always is. There will always be. And it will get better and better. But that ability to test and refine and get better is something you really need to do. What you obviously know is why you did Gen 1 and you're doing Gen 2. And you realize.
And there's going to be a Gen 3.
Right.
And it'll probably be the Gen 2 just optimized. We'll bring it back to lab.
Right.
Replace individual components with better components. And hopefully it won't be another overhaul.
Yeah.
Because that's what I'm in the process of doing right now. Totally, like we learned everything we could from our base unit, our MVP, lab only, and now we're, building our first field model and that's probably going to be redressed with optimizing after 6 months, and then we'll run it again, and then we go to the manufacturing with contracts in hand.
Right.
And I could probably close on those operator leads right now, but it's not. We're premature.
Yeah.
I need them to go through the drive-through lane.
You want them to be excited.
Yeah.
Right?
See, and getting that, using the system that they want to buy into is the best selling point. I don't have to open my mouth. You fly in, it's over here. Here's the address. Go do it. Tell me if you want to do it or not. I got 500 other people that are wanting to do it. So, go through it. Tell me what you think. You want to send me the money? I'll manufacture this unit for you, and this is what it's going to look like.
Right. I like it, man. Some
Yeah.
good plans, man. Yeah. Well, obviously it's been great having you in here, man. I could sit here and talk a couple hours with you, man. I always enjoy hanging out with you, man. And definitely think you're onto something great. And I love that you're doing some cool stuff in Baton Rouge, and I love highlighting it. And hopefully we can all create some cool stuff here in the tech park and put Baton Rouge on the tech map,
Let's do it. It's having a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And I don't see why your thing won't work. I don't see why my thing won't work. They're solving problems in the market, making things more efficient, and making money at the same time.
Right.
It makes everybody happy.
Yeah. Right. Everybody's happy. That's right, Speedy. All right, man. Look in the camera right there and tell them how they can support you and your GoFunding crowd.
If y'all want to invest in Speedy Eats, you can go to startengine.com, and you can go to their search bar up at the top and type in Speedy Eats or Speedy Fresh. I think it might be under Speedy Fresh. It'll pull up our page, and you can invest. It's $250 is the minimum, and you can purchase stock on there, and it's going to be a growing stock, I believe. We're positioned for massive growth if our first units work. So it'd be something you're getting in at the ground floor, and you really are.
Yeah, no doubt. And it's being done right here in Baton Rouge, which is an amazing feat, right? And bringing some cool technology and some awareness to what's being done here at the LA Tech Park and things that we're creating up here. So it's been great having you on, Speed.
Thank you.
Hopefully
Appreciate
you blow
it.
this thing up and we look back on this video a couple
be
years
fun.
from now and look back and think it's really awesome. So,
Yeah, I hope so too.
all right. Well, I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for joining us on the Falaya Focus Studio, and we'll see you next time. Hey, guys, I wanted to take a second and say thank you for watching the Falaya Focus Podcast. At Falaya, we are reimagining the way real estate is bought and sold. So we need all the love and support we can get to grow our movement. Please tell all your friends and family about all the great things that we have going on here at Falaya. Please like, share, and subscribe to all of our content, and we'll see you next time on the Falaya Focus Podcast.